So recently, I received a gift of a new Chemex coffee maker, and Chemex makes this statement: the best cup of coffee you've ever had, every time you have it. And the first week I had the coffee maker, I actually let it sit on the shelf, and I never got to experience the best cup of coffee I ever had. And I couldn't help but draw a parallel between the cup of coffee, the Chemex, and what Worsh says in his TEDx video. Because in the same way we consider it silly not to use a new coffee maker of a gift, it's also silly to fill ourselves with so much knowledge online but never use it. Worsh says this statement: nearly all human knowledge is in the air. But according to Postman, most plan to do nothing with the knowledge that they obtain. So the question is, how do we help motivate people to action based upon the knowledge they're obtaining? In my discipleship and leadership blog post on Blogger, Google Plus, and Facebook, I noticed something. I had 134 views on Blogger, but no comments. And on Facebook, I had about 10 people who actually engaged in conversation. But the question that really matters most to me is not, are people viewing my posts, but is leadership transformation through discipleship taking place? So of the 10 people who interacted on Facebook, I was encouraged to see a glimpse of what Simmons talks about as an open network. So many different types of people from several of my circles of influence were all interacting with one another. And for instance, young leaders would immediately post, and they would take a black and white stance on a concept presented. And the older and more experienced leaders would post later on, but they would bring wisdom and often a new perspective to the younger. And hence, that's the benefit of an open network. And as interaction developed, I would interject different probing questions. But according to Worsh, a good question leads people on a quest, and that's what I was trying to do. But still, there's one question that remains: what actions will transpire, and what actions would transpire based upon the knowledge that people were obtaining? So there's a discipleship study called Discovery Bible Study, and in that there's a portion at the very end called I Will. And in this portion, each participant, they must craft together an action step based upon the passage in Scripture that they were spending time studying. And the action step must be something that's measurable with a time and place in order to be accomplished. So something that might be like, on Thursday, I will take a meal to my next door neighbor at 7 p.m. in order to obey this passage. Because many people engage Scripture, but it doesn't actually bring transformation in their life. And it's interesting because this is in keeping with what Jesus says in John chapter 14, verse 24. Jesus replied, "Anyone who loves me will obey my teaching." This is Jesus equating love for him based upon action to the knowledge that he had presented. So this idea of people filling themselves with knowledge but not doing anything with it has been around for quite some time. So I think a concept similar to the I will statement in the discipleship study could be incorporated into the way that we present information on social media. We should encourage people to respond, but not necessarily just with a like, but maybe with a photo or a post about how they applied the knowledge that they had received. And this is a concept that can and it will be hard, but if we're persistent, we may start to see movement of people actually having healthy, transformational conversations about knowledge that they obtain online. Thanks for listening.